We just go over the itinerary
Yeah.
and discuss what we're going to do. I'll have to get a hold of Alyssa later today.
Okay.
Set up for tomorrow luncheon.
I'll show you what we got. So we got the, this is the packet that they sent. We got a thing you can write in.
Oh,
Kind of nice. I don't know people that keep notes, but I guess some
Yeah.
people do.
pretty neat.
And then these are the
Got
maps.
Page markers.
Yeah.
Even got page marker.
Yeah, and this kind too, where you can, do like 50 pages, just hold it, or just close it. Kind of nice.
And that's the book.
Yeah, these are the maps that they were talking about.
Oh, okay. I wondered what they were, because I heard about maps and stuff.
Yeah.
I imagine when those Germans were on that beach, they saw that morning wall-to-wall boats.
Yeah.
I was thinking last night, the Germans, if they're thinking ahead, all they need to do is get their airplanes there and figure out which ones are the troop transports and just hit the troop transports.
So I'll tell you something even worse. I'm listening to this book about D-Day from Stephen Ambrose, and so they were supposed to go, I guess, the day before.
Yeah.
And, so the ships are out. They're out of the harbor. They're doing their thing, and then they call them back. But these ships were crammed into these harbors. It was like a shooting gallery. It was just... And evidently, there was a bombing raid, but it wasn't focused on that. And when the bombers went over, there was so much anti-aircraft fire from the destroyers and stuff that were in the harbor that they just kept going. But the weather wasn't good, so it may have been tough to see them. But can you imagine, 100,000 guys, 130,000, 160, whatever it was, just all crammed up into these little harbors? Yeah, that would have been a mess.
Yeah, and then they had making bad decisions like that. Those tanks that were supposed to be able to swim, the guy ordered them into the water too damn early because the water was too rough. You couldn't make that many miles in that wave.
Yeah.
Most of them sank. Yeah, it was terrible. That's what I understood.
Talking about the Germans, I'm at the section in the book where they're just starting the landing. And it was confusing for the Germans because all the anti-aircraft fire, those C-47s they were in big V's of V's. There was, 900 airplanes. Can you imagine 900 C-47? 900 and some. But as soon as the anti-aircraft fire started, they just went to get away from each other. Yeah. And then they had no clue where they are because only the guy in front really knows where he is, and everybody else was kind of watching somebody else's wingtip.
A lot of paratroopers died because of dropped in bad places.
Yeah, and so the Germans are getting reports about paratroopers all over the place, and it doesn't make any sense. Just why? And they had like a false.
The
Even
dummies.
earlier, they dropped some dummies. So there's no concentration of paratroopers, right? So you got an individual unit. They've lost their comms. They send out a patrol. They have no idea
Where they're at.
where they're at and how many there are. Is it just? Are they just resupplying the local saboteurs?
They had the clickers, some of them.
Yeah, they all had the clickers. But I just thought it was. And then the other thing, there was some German map conference or something, and all the senior leaders for the different divisions in that area, they were gone. Rommel was on his way, or actually was back in Berlin, and all the.
I thought he was at home, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, home.
Oh, okay.
And he was supposed to go meet Hitler, so he'd gone home, hung out with his wife, but he basically had gone back from the coast back to Berlin. And but these other division heads or generals, and even some of the XOs, they had taken off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some were in Paris, some were all over the place.
And then there was some Panzer division that was.
Just sat there.
Yeah, because they were ready to go. As soon as they got reports, they gathered all their guys. They're sitting in their tanks. Tanks are running, but he can't get any orders to go. So he just sits there. He's supposed to go take that bridge back, and or go check on it, and he can't leave.
Yeah, there was a lot of confusion.
Seemed to work. Thank goodness it worked.
Yeah.
Oh, this is where we're staying. At the coast. That little town right there. Bayeux or something like that. Bayeux. I need to get some more glasses before we go. It's hard to see. But it's right in the middle of, if you look, oh, you're on the other, you're further in. I was back at page. It may be there too. Let me see. Let me see if it's there too. There's Khan. Yeah, here. Right there.
Oh, yeah.
What you looking at?
The paratroopers. 82nd and 101st are. That was the objective where they were supposed to drop. I imagine. And they said that, they got separated with the C-47s were on their own, and pilots didn't know where the hell they were. And they finally just get out of the airplane. We got to turn around and go back or something.
Yeah, I guess in the book they said with the anti-aircraft fire, some of the pilots dove down, and other pilots gained altitude. and they were supposed to jump out at whatever it was. I don't know what the altitude was, but let's just say it was 1,500 feet or something like that. Some pilots went up to like 2,000 feet, and then some pilots went down to a couple of hundred feet. So, it's pretty dangerous any way you go, right? If you're expecting one thing and you get another, jump out of an
Jumping
airplane.
into fields of water and drowning. And
There was, I guess one guy broke radio silence and said, there's a paratrooper is caught on my wing. What do I do? And because the parachute had caught on the wing. And another guy said, slow down, it'll slide off. And so that's what he did. He slowed down, he slid off. That's just, harrowing stuff.
Mm.
You get dropped in water, you get all this extra weight on, and you're trying to figure out, can I stand on my tiptoes? What can I do? People shooting all over the place.
Guns drop in the water, they can't get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I guess they're lucky they had Eisenhower working on this. He seemed to make it all happen. Got everybody pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, he had more personality than some of the other officers that they feel he could get along with the British. That was his main characteristic that got him in that position, because they figured he could work with the British. Some of the other generals were so independent, and
Yeah.
they said no, they probably wouldn't get along with one another. But he did a good job.
I think the other, or it sounded like the other big blunder was that Rommel thought that they would only invade on a high tide. So they weren't even looking for him. And evidently the decision was to go on a rising tide, so that when the, what did they call them? What was the name for those landing craft?
Higgins boat.
Yeah, Higgins boats? When the landing craft got on the beach and they offloaded guys, the tide would be coming in, it'd make it easier for them to get back off.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes, the water's rising underneath you.
Yeah. That's something to think about. Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
you deal with that stuff. That's the stuff you think about. Yeah.
I think that's the point. I don't think Rommel was doing amphibious landing, so it didn't even occur to him.
I've never seen these pictures before.
Yeah. Which one? What page on?
6. When they had all those logs in the water, they had a lot of debris. They said they had a lot of things, but I've never seen pictures of the actual stuff.
Oh, gotcha. I think they had mines on these. And the idea was they'd be just sort of under the water at high tide, and they'd have those mines on them, and the landing craft would hit them. Yeah, just another completely missed. This is what they're gonna do. So this is what we need to do to.